So recently we told you sir Lincoln University I award the United States of America award be na more experts some of the John Dramani Mahama, because John Dramani Mahama bro announces say or New York the United Nations now what we call reparations ama Africans no now before we feel organize at Lincoln University aka say ofi UN pe on me person obeba na obema speech be our Lincoln University, and as part of it Lincoln University wanted to give an honorary degree to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, but last minute we had said this honorary degree it has been stripped. Now it was all because of according to Lincoln University, John Dramani Mahama, his stance on LGBTQ issues. Say, bro, about power, no, before about power, no, or the to just say, sa anti LGBTQ plus booyah AB, yeah, the bar or sign, and Nuntino almost DB, and can also follow the same stance and the predecessor who follow or follow ya or so on idea. He is not really going to talk about, but Mahama Ajia to me say he is going to sign it, so they are not going to give him the honorary degree. Nevertheless, so Mahama actually went to Lincoln University and gave a speech, but then he said something in a series of videos called this particular thing that he said, it is what has really amount for Pastor Mahama is really doing well, because he has been able to tell the white people face to face, say this is not our culture. You have to respect it. Now, also Prez Mahama urges international partners to respect Ghana's position on LGBTQ issues, and he says public apology is grounded in legal tradition. Public policy is grounded in legal traditions, cultural context, and consensus. So this is exactly what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said. Now, mind you, he went there to actually give a speech. Now, speech not make it, he actually says, and yes, if you no and no buy no say on signing LGBT, and I say obe ban LGBT. The people, the members of parliament, almost say from their constituents, the constituents are saying, yempe Trumu Trumu nyema we ewe ye krum ha say. So if the people who elected you are telling you, say, we don't want something, it's here for only why now Becca said you will not do it. So Mahama was saying, these arguments like, and then BBC CNN, so Mahama is against LGBT, or so on no day party, or no party, or no be any issue. But then he came to serve the people and respect their decisions. If Ghana for a party said they don't want LGBTQ aya, and yet who Donald Trump, and yet who Kamala Harris, and other for say uncle signing anti-LGBTQ plus, and I say on legalizing LGBTQ plus. Yeah, share this particular video of what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said when he came face to face with the people who pulled his honorary degree at the Lincoln University.
The issue of LGBTQ rights are emotive, and they are not completely settled in terms of their nuances and arguments, not only in Ghana, but all over the world. Even in the United States, you still have discourse on LGBTQ rights. There are still 26 states in America that have legislation that restricts LGBTQ rights. And so for a country like Ghana, our democracy is playing out in respect to what those rights are. And let me point out that the bill in Parliament is not a government bill. It's not a government-sponsored bill. It's a private member's bill. And so Parliament owns that bill for now. And what the eventual nature of the bill would be, nobody can second-guess Parliament. And I, as President, cannot anticipate, Parliament in respect of that bill. But I believe that our democracy will work out. Memoranda are being accepted from all people of all walks of life. Civil society organizations are all presenting papers to Parliament. And I believe that our representatives, the representatives of the people, will make the will of Ghanaians reflect in whatever bill eventually comes out. And so I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, and so the representatives of the people will discuss the bill, and once they pass it, then it comes up to the presidency. And the Constitution gives various pathways for dealing with it. If I object to the bill, I can send it back to the Parliament. If there are issues that need to be dealt with, we have the Council of State, which is a superior body. I can refer to the Council of State for advice. And so there are many issues that are still playing out. But I believe that our international partners should understand that public policy is grounded in our legal traditions, in our cultural context, and in our social consensus. And all those issues are playing out as we speak. I believe that it is respect for the rule of law, there's respect for human rights, there's respect for the freedoms of the people. Ghana is held up as a beacon of democracy in Africa, and that is because we have set up institutions that are standing the test of time. We have an independent electoral commission that superintends our elections, and the Constitution gives it autonomy and protects it from political interference. And we also have political parties that are willing to accept the outcome of results. And if we dispute elections, we don't take guns and fight. We go to the Supreme Court for an interpretation and a decision. And so I think that level of tolerance, in the political atmosphere is what has given Ghana the advantage it has. We have a relatively independent judiciary that we have confidence will adjudicate matters fairly.
Yeah. So immediately after His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said this, he also went further to add more fuel to the fire, telling the white people, say, me only degree and I was a mommy, it really doesn't really worry me per se. But then one of the things also when is Ghana has a shared history with Lincoln University. Why? Because our founding father, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, where he first went to university was University of Pennsylvania, which had a direct link with Lincoln University. In Tienko in Sema, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he even made mention about how Ghana, we will right now be processing our cocoa before selling it to other countries. In this particular extension video,
what brought us to Pennsylvania was two events which were piggybacked on yesterday's event, the UN. And so when we're coming to the UN, we had invitations, 2 invitations, and one of them is tomorrow by the World Affairs Council. But the other one was Lincoln University invited us. And I want to say that there's a historic link between Ghana and Pennsylvania. There's a historic link between Ghana and Lincoln University. Whatever disagreements have come up, for me, Lincoln University holds a special place in my heart. Because those are hallowed grounds for Ghana. It is part of our history. We cannot divorce Lincoln University from the history of Ghana. That is where our first president, Osage was nurtured with his intellectual capacity and his Pan-Africanist spirit. And it was from there he took that spark and led the liberation struggle, not only in Ghana, but across the African continent. And so the grounds of Lincoln are hallowed grounds for Ghanaians, and will continue to hold that institution in high esteem. But let me say now, please, and we're saying that we're going to allocate the bulk of our cocoa to the local processors to process that cocoa before we export it. We're looking to do the same with all our agricultural exports, especially cocoa. The recent incident with cocoa, with the prices plummeting, and you see all the videos of Mahama with the car of cocoa farmers protesting in the cocoa farms. And it is because for almost 70 years after we gained independence, we're still exporting raw beans to the world. I believe that what has happened in the international market should be a wake-up call for us, and that we must allocate more of our beans. And we're taking the first step to doing that because we're changing the financing model. Before, we got the traders and others who buy the cocoa to advance the money for us to buy the cocoa from our farmers. Now we say we're going to raise the money ourselves and buy our own cocoa. And when we're taking the money from the traders to buy the cocoa from our farmers, the collateral for the money they were advancing us were the cocoa beans. And so once you bought the cocoa beans, it was the collateral for the financing they gave you. So now, if we raise our money, we buy our own cocoa. Our cocoa is not collateral to anybody. And so we can decide what to do with it. And we're saying that we're going to allocate the bulk of our cocoa to the local processors to process that cocoa before we export it. We're looking to do this.
Okay, so that is exactly what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama or the Tuja. Now, ebe movie on here for so because there are a lot of things are echo so we definitely need to talk